go then, foes reunited. One of the most absorbing rivalries in snooker. Ronnie O'Sullivan and Mark Selby. Mark Selby, the defending champion. O'Sullivan seeded second as world champion. 8 frames then to play this afternoon. This could be a real winter warmer for snooker fans.
Of the two, Mark has played the best. He was very, I would say, very proficient last night. He was better than that with 3.
There's a lot of respect there.
Good red, but no obvious colour unless he wants to cut this in. It's quite thin. Taking this on, but a little cut back can be missed. It's a very positive shot.
No.
Many snooker fans will recall Selby's first ranking final, 2000.
The whole thing was out of control. He went away, worked very hard, completely rebuilt his game. Came back a very different proposition. He was good then.
Any match, I guess you're looking to start well, but certainly a final. And certainly a final against Ronnie O'Sullivan. Ooh, he's missed that one though. Just as things were looking good in this opening frame.
Yeah, missed it by a way, didn't he? And of course, Ronnie O'Sullivan is the player you'll want to watch play. What a shot that is.
One.
Not on the colour.
Sullivan, 1.
No disrespect on that shot. Got a bit lucky there. He lost control.
He did it against. It wasn't just me he tried to tie up in knots. That's how he plays. I think it gave him a slightly different perspective on Mark Selby as a player. He really did dig in that match. Mark Selby led most of the way. O'Sullivan dug in and got the win as Selby knocks that in, so the impasse is broken.
He's blitzed the cue ball at him, as he did in the World Championships, as we saw. Here's the first time we've had to find out.
Foul, I missed. Out Selby, 4.
Yeah, and hit it off the second cushion, I think. That's the idea. Well, he was the first time. I think it was worth persisting with that, you know. I don't see why he had to go that route of chances like this, though. The whole idea maybe was to unsettle, but he won't be unsettled by having the frame at his mercy. Selby won't.
No, I mean, a red had to go down there, the way he played the shot. Like you say, the first time he was just a centimetre away from hitting the red. So Selby's second good chance. Of course, he missed a red earlier on 21.
8.
Just an intriguing match, isn't it? It's more than just a normal final between two top players. There's a lot of history between them.
9.
That's not a good shot. He played the cannon. He definitely played the cannon, the right-hand red of the two. across and play the other red.
Seven.
Managed to get the other side. Anything I will say about the Sullivan shot, there is nothing more frustrating than playing an intricate escape and you get it almost right, but you still end up leaving reds. You've gone down a little meekly, so Sullivan's not going to play it that way. His decision. It worked in the World Championship semi-final. You have to concede that point. It's a bit of a stretch. Blue is almost in play by his side there on this shot. Anyway, well played.
25.
So this black's going to put him 57 in front. We'll need a couple more reds to secure the opening frame. Of course, it was O'Sullivan he beat to win his first ranking title, 2008 Welsh Open. He came from 8-5 down to win 9-8.
32. 33.
So it looks like first blood Selby. This frame, I think, could be a microcosm of the whole final. It's been fascinating seeing how the two players are approaching it, how they're feeling early on. Selby, you know, he missed that red early on, but ultimately he can forget about that.
Yeah, Sullivan followed that red to the middle at pace and tried to develop the pink and black and other reds. He did the second part, but he didn't get on the colour. That's basically all he did wrong. Then, of course, with Selby rolling up behind the yellow, the old wounds were opened up in the match as well.
55.
Carried on where he left off last night, Selby. Scored heavily.
Well, will O'Sullivan play on?
One.
Well, he claims not to practice at the venue on the various practice tables which are there for the players. I think at the start of his home nation's events, it's not the easiest thing to get a knock on any of the tables. Players everywhere. Low-ranked players full of hope and expectation. Trying to get a bit of practice in. It is not the most tranquil place, the practice room. It's not for O'Sullivan. So he's kind of doing his practice in frames that he's lost at the end of them.
8.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to book practice times. It's a bit like trying to get tickets for Glastonbury. You know, they just go very quickly if you're not on the ball. But obviously there's only these two here now.
It's a bit more chaotic than Glastonbury. When you get out there.
15.
Well, he wasn't just trying to pot some balls there. He's trying to get... I mean, I don't even know how many snookers he needs, but it's too many.
Well, it must be 10. He's 66 behind with 27 on. It's not going to bother Selby.
5.
I don't know what the record is for the amount of snookers gained in a professional match, but I know that we've seen half a dozen before now on very rare occasions, haven't we?
Well, there are all sorts of stories, aren't there, from the old Norbrecht days of people getting snookers in double figures, but The actual truth of them we're not sure about.
No, unseen by anybody except the two players. There wouldn't have been too many spectators in some of those booths either watching.
Right, Selby, 9.
Well, he's not conceding.
This is the point, isn't it? I mean, most players would happily hit a couple of balls to just get themselves in order, but he's trying to get the snooker still.
Well, if you've been looking to make a cup of tea but don't want to miss any of the action, this could be the moment.
Five. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 5.
A little bit. It's been over a while. Interesting that Selby didn't just drop that in there, isn't it? Why did he try and play a snooker back?
Well, this is what happened with O'Sullivan and Elaine Robidoux. The match people remember when O'Sullivan played left-handed, Robidoux didn't like it. Last frame, Robidoux needed a load of snookers on the pink, and O'Sullivan, when he had chances to pot it, didn't. So he just carried on for 10, 15 minutes with nothing happening. But that ends it.
6.
Get the feeling Selby will pot the black as well, just to make his point. His break of 56 was the decisive contribution in this frame.
13 in the frame.
So, 1 down, 16 to go. It's advantage Mark Selby in the final of Snooker Scottish Open. He leads Ronnie O'Sullivan. 1-0. 7 in succession. Of course, O'Sullivan at the World Championship went past Hendry's all-time record for ranking titles with 37.
Was a slight concern where the red is going to go on that shot. He left something of an attempt, I think, to try and avoid the reds. It's a good shot. It's hard to play without any pace. If he's gone enough, he's very unlucky. Because it was a good shot.
Oh.
Played it with
Mark Selby.
check side correctly. Did it well.
1.
Wow, didn't really expect him to miss that. He was up very quickly. Yeah, I think he knew that he wasn't right on the shot.
1. 8.
Well, a couple of reds at the bottom of the bunch, as you can see.
60.
It wasn't very straight to play that shot. There was a bit of angle on there. That's a nice split. He played it nicely. Didn't take any risks. He knew he'd be on that bottom red.
23. 24.
Get going today. I suppose you might expect more, but I won't go on about the tip again, but we know he's had various... He's a great achievement. It looked like he would lose yesterday. Li Hang basically had him in that match, but didn't beat him.
He's always been so good at recovering those shots, though. Little thin cut to the middle, difficult shots. He's got another big shot to play here. He's got to stop the cue ball from going away from the reds somehow. Might have to play a cannon. Nice cannon, that's very well played. He might not be on the red he wanted, but it's all right. Good shot.
48.
Sullivan's got the knack of making slightly tricky shots look easy, and there was an example.
54.
He's also got a knack of just killing frames off so quickly.
Very true, Dave. I think what it is, he puts the groundwork in early in the frame to get the balls into positions where he wants them, and then the question is just joining the dots. That's how he plays.
62.
Some players, the break gets more difficult as the hard shots arrive. He plays the difficult shots early.
Yeah, the yellow puts him 59 ahead with 59 on. So one more red.
$65.
Well, he sit back strongly. Selby, though,
71.
had the opening, didn't he? Potted the long red, missed the black.
72.
Will Selby come back and play on? Is it going to be one of those sort of days?
Well, if he does it, he's got to do it for his own reasons. If he's doing it just to play the compliment or whatever you want to call it, that's a different story.
Ronnie Sullivan, 72. And the fifth.
The answer is no. So Ronnie O'Sullivan, a swift 72. He's on the scoreboard. Battle joined here. We're level at 1 each. It's interesting, these home nations events, you know, we talk about the capacity for shocks early on, and you do get quite a few, but look at the finals this season, the three finals. Judd Trump, Neil Robertson at the English Open, Judd Trump, Ronnie O'Sullivan at the Northern Ireland Open, and here we are at the Scottish Open. So Sullivan, Selby.
One.
This is a brave shot. That's a terrific shot. Serves the cue ball to get beyond the blue.
Six.
Little cannon here, I think, on the red, the other side of the black.
14. $22. 27.
On his next colour here.
28.
Tiny bit straight, but you will need to get into the bunch, I think, to force it quite a lot to do it from there. Not perfect by any means. Rather surprising, that enough.
Selby 35.
Selby-like. Caught these a bit thick. Kibble's not travelling as far as he hoped. Red's opened up more than he expected. Half a chance for O'Sullivan. Well, it's a disappointing miss, actually. Might cost him the frame. He didn't get very close to it. It's the one way you invariably will leave the shot on.
Golden chance for Selby to go back in front. Already ahead as he comes back to the table.
Nine.
He's got not a great deal of work to do here. I mean, everything's so out in the open.
14. 15.
It's not like boxing. You can't land a knockout blow early on in these opening sessions, but it's all about jostling for position. The mini sessions, if you can take a 3-1 lead and then get in front, coming back tonight. Both players still sort of sussing each other out as well this afternoon. He may feel he needs to pop them all, though, because we saw what happened in frame one. O'Sullivan played on even with pink and black on.
Yeah, good point.
41.
Smattering of fake applause just means the frame is won behind Snookers.
Yeah, I've noticed now there's different grades, isn't there, of fake applause? As you say, there's a smattering, there's a sort of more vociferous one, and then there's one with whistles. That's the ultimate. If you get that, you know you're doing well. Crowds are due to return in a reduced capacity at the Masters in January at the Alexandra Palace. Obviously, we can't see into the future. We don't know what will happen between now and then, but let's hope they do. Because that tournament in particular, of course, has always been in London, always been associated with the crowds and making the atmosphere.
$54.
Yes, in a roundabout way, this frame was won when Selby was in the jaws of the pocket and he hit the safety shot too thick. The half chance that Sullivan got, he never got particularly close to. Yeah, so I think he just pushed it onto the ball. Left this wonderful chance, which Selby has very happily taken. Sure, even if he won today, whether it really is complete revenge for what happened at the Crucible. But it is a trophy, and it's a final, a ranking event. So I think should he win today, which of course he's not anywhere near doing yet, you know, he'd be quite relieved to beat this man. intimidating player, I think, O'Sullivan these days, always has been. The way he plays at the moment, the intimidation factor is definitely in there as one of the reasons he's still up the top of his game.
75.
I think each of them regard a win over the other as a good win, wherever it is, but certainly when it's in a final or whether it's at the Crucible, you know, a big occasion. Gone deep in quite a few other tournaments.
80.
So it's just enough on for the first century of the day.
$84. 89. 95.
It's black for Mark Selby's 8th century of this Scottish Open. Nicely done. Clearance of 102. The chance was there, and he took it well. And for the second time, Mark Selby leads the final. One more frame to come before the interval. It's 2-1. Been another very good week. Of course, the first day, there was all sorts of chaos because a lot of the COVID results hadn't come back and matches were delayed. Some matches were held over, but the team here
Sullivan unwilling to open the bunch up, playing safety shot in that way. Can he get underneath it enough to screw the cue ball around the back of all of those? I think that's pointing the cue downwards. Playing the cue ball back to the other end of the table here. So it doesn't matter so much when you miss them.
One.
Having said that, just one red sticking out. O'Sullivan's chance to get into the bunch here. Doesn't need a second invitation to play these shots. Just slid off them slightly.
Nine.
It's the cue ball there. Whatever bite he was meant to get on the cue ball wasn't on it, and it went into the side of the bunch.
Brian O'Sullivan, 9.
but he's the quicker of the two at the moment.
Very thin. Still managed it though. Good shot.
One. Five. Six.
Quarterfinals 2002. Mark Selby still a teenager, and he won 5-3.
14.
That was the tournament where he was he was seen by myself and others in the hotel reception at 1 in the morning, trying to get transport down to the venue to play a match at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He thought it was afternoon, didn't notice it was pitch black, so jet lagged as he looks to get into them.
Yes, is that available, that red to the left corner?
21.
His demeanour suggests it might not be. Sullivan might feel that things could have been worse from the shot that Selby got in from. It's not going to hurt him greatly, that little break.
Selby 21.
Finishes it off with a good safety shot, though. I don't know which side of the blue he's trying to go, but going into it like that, might have been trying to swing the cue all right round wide of it.
1.
At least he's got the red near the pocket, which helps.
Seven.
Go the other side.
Fourteen.
Just feel he's never quite been in control of this break. Yeah, and he's eventually missed.
Mark Selby 14.
No, I think you're right, Dave. Good observation. He was just potting one ball at a time without any real fluency in between.
It was a good chance when he came to the table.
1.
Well, that seemed to kick. It hasn't stopped the ball going in. Cue ball jumped up in the air. Well, how does he finish there?
8.
A lot of things happened on that shot. The blue, then he glanced off the side of the bunch, developed those. Now if this bottom red goes in, he's missed a few into that pocket, you know.
Ronnie Sullivan 8.
Well, it didn't make any difference to the pot.
Well, it's a very good pot.
1.
Where's he going to end up, though? Big shot, this. Played very confidently now. This is a chance to win the frame. The earlier chance never really quite happened.
3.
There'll be no excuse, I think, this time, should he not win the frame from here.
And then there is the prospect, of course, of pulling away into a substantial lead in the second half. There's also the prospect, of course, of O'Sullivan coming back at him. But first things first, get this frame won.
12.
Just a couple of safety errors from O'Sullivan have contributed. Trying to get the white on the back cushion on that last shot, didn't quite get it to the cushion. Selby knocked in the red.
think it's a fair reflection of play.
25.
3-1 Selby.
Yeah, of course, he made the century, 102 in frame 3. Leads by 45 with 35 on. 3 snookers required. Always the chance of the free ball with the last red. But he's sort of forcing O'Sullivan into potting it.
One. Eight. For O'Sullivan, 8.
Good effort. I think this is a little different. There's every reason to believe most players would play on here. Certainly Selby would have done if it was him. Because, as you say, he was forced into potting the red. Whereas he'd like to have kept it on the table. O'Sullivan, the free ball and all of that. Of course, the free ball counts for a lot more with the red on the table.
Well, it's never not interesting when these two play, whatever the match, but certainly finals carry an extra spice.
He's just got to score better, I think. He hasn't really competed as well in that department. He's not any brilliant chances. Safety's not been as good as Selby's. Selby's potted a couple more long balls, so but everything's got to improve. Kind of in keeping with how his week has been. Been just playing in snatches, really.
Yeah, 3-1, I think, definitely is a fair reflection of what we've seen.
Selby, 2.
Surely now, this 4th frame will be over.
Three. Seven.
Remember, it's 1st to 9 to win the Scottish Open. Mark Selby looking to defend the title and win ranking event number 19 of his career.
12. Mark Selby, 12.
Sullivan still not giving it up. Seems in 2020 not conceding when he lost is in fashion.
I think we should be going off 15 minutes now, personally.
Six.
Well, thank goodness the pink went in, and thank goodness the cue ball didn't, because the frame is over. And Mark Selby, clearly the happier of the two as the players head to the interval. He's going to make his point by playing the black. It's all part of the little bit of spice that's in this match.
Mark Selby, 6.
Well, the frame is over. I mean, this is ridiculous. There's no more playing on now.
Well, you can't get snookers on the black. It's just a fact.
Frame's over. Nothing more to see.
And the frame.
Strange end, but it's Mark Selby, as I say, the happier of the two as they head off to the interval. 9 the target to be Scottish Open champion. Mark Selby leads Ronnie O'Sullivan by 3 frames to 1. O'Sullivan could still be in front coming back tonight. He'd have to win all 4. Certainly, you'd say he needs to win 2 of the 4 to stay in touch. 3 of the 4 were back level again.
Selby was lucky there, I think. Can't imagine that he's left anything. He's not broken any rules. Just think there's a little bit extra on this match. I'm sensing it.
Well, even in that last frame, you know, Selby potted the pink. The black was on the top cushion, so it wasn't potable. He could have just walked out for the interval, but he insisted on playing it. Then O'Sullivan attempted to play it and was told by the referee the frame's over.
Yeah, there's got to come to an end. The frames have to end. He just can't stay out there and just be in denial the frame's over. Especially the one before the mid-session. Most of the time people want to just go and have their 15-minute break. Anyway, for us, it's engrossing viewing. Played a good shot there, O'Sullivan. Safety shot with a good look about it. Handy kiss there on the green. Couldn't quite manage it. The Reds could go in all directions here, playing this shot for safety. Thought he couldn't leave anything, but of course the red that you're playing is always, once you've missed it, a shot you've got no control over. So he was a bit lucky to get away with that. At first I thought the red cut actually, but apparently not.
Foul. A miss.
Well, looking for a thin edge, but got no edge.
Sullivan, 4.
That's a good shot. Second time up, it was worth the 4-point foul to get there on take 2.
One.
All right, he's more than happy with that result. A little bit of guesswork in there, but as I say, you always thought he'd finish on something.
Remember, Mark Selby's won 15 of his last 16 ranking finals. Very, very impressive record. Last 10 as well. And he must have come in full of confidence after the semi-final last night, where he really did play well. He had 3 centuries against Jamie Jones. Could have had more, but it's just a very good all-round display.
50. $21. 23.
Just chipping away with what's there at the moment, and he can get himself into a good lead, but you feel that he'll need something a little more than this to make it a frame-winning break. For now, can only concentrate on pulling the balls in front of you. But those 7 reds down the bottom of the table likely to come into play, which the left 2 clearly are available if you get on them.
$36. 43. 48. 49. 56.
That's not how he played it. He played to get beyond the pink, play it into the same pocket, I think, as the red. He just knocked the last shot into.
Selby 62.
62 to lead by 58. 75 still on the table. Could be a significant frame early on, couldn't it? If O'Sullivan could get in with a chance, you know, you'd fancy him to potentially make a winning break, but he's got to get in first.
Yeah, but you just feel that at the moment the match is being played more on Selby's terms, isn't it? The fact that he's, you know, these long safety battles of which a mistake is made and he preys on that mistake. That's kind of how Selby has always been happy to play snooker. O'Sullivan looks a bit frustrated. Didn't really want to get embroiled in all this. You can only play the shot in front of you. Quite like the other colours, bar the yellow not being on their spots, they're not really out of play either.
Yeah, that's the one thing Selby didn't get, was a safe colour on a cushion.
I wonder if he's got any ideas about opening the 3 reds here. He certainly played to get a high angle. He certainly tried to. Difficult shot. And also to open the reds and get up the table at the same time. He hasn't really done it. There's one way he can get to the left of the table. It's a great effort, isn't it? With his wrong hand. Play that shot. He's a bit straight on the red and he's missed a couple into that pocket at pace.
Sullivan, 14.
Oh, good grief. The cue ball has hung on, and what a difference, because that red would have been onto the middle had the white gone in.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really a natural in off. You know, it's not really on, but it came very close to going in there.
It didn't sound like a very good contact.
No, and I think he's left the red on. He's not happy.
Sounded like a kick. Cue ball has not found the cushion. He's left this pot. O'Sullivan 44 behind, 59 on.
1. Eight.
It's a very big frame, this one, isn't it? You can feel it. It's just another frame in best of 17 frame match, but I think there's more to it than this. Selby dominated it without ever quite putting it away. Possible counter-attack here. Ball's not impossibly placed for a clearance.
I think that pot success graphic, though, said it all. It's not that he's missed much, he just hasn't had that much to go at. This is a sort of frame, though. Mark Selby 50-odd in front. You would normally fancy him strongly to have won.
60.
Just had one or two difficulties in this pocket, you know, with shots like this. Played with a tiny bit of pace.
23.
It's okay from the keyboard system. It's off straight, so it's okay.
24.
Those colours may look difficult, but actually get behind the yellow and everything else is very much close at hand. Oh, that's okay. He may not be happy, but I tell you, it's not badly played. Just a little bit of pace judgment that's got to be done here to get on the brown perfectly. With all this equipment on the cue, the extension, none of which is his own, it's just the stuff that they leave under the table. He can misjudge the pace. I'd be happy with that. That's a good shot.
40.
Pulled one of these out the far yesterday, didn't he, against Liang, which was very significant.
45.
Pink and Selby can only tie.
Oh, this is why he's world champion. He's dug himself out of a hole here against the most difficult man to beat in frames like this he'll ever play.
Yeah, you could not call that a straightforward clearance, but Ronnie O'Sullivan has made it nonetheless an important frame for him to stay in touch here. It's a steal for the world champ. He trails now 3-2. It's their 9th meeting in a final. Selby's won 5 of the previous 8. The overall head-to-head, though, favours O'Sullivan 16-10.
And you're right, Selby might have been a bit unlucky with the kick that he got, but he could have put the frame away before then. A couple of chances. He was kind of doing all the hard work, but the important shots went to that man in the end.
Yeah, it felt like an unusual frame for Selby to lose. He's reliable, normally 50-odd in front. He's also usually the man doing the clearing up.
Pretty good. Unusual shot again. I think this week would suggest he is. I'm surprised he went for that. I thought it was a risk he didn't have to take. I mean, you could have left it for Selby.
Selby can still have a significant lead coming back this evening. So this cue will having to travel for the low value colours.
10. $11.
It's the sort of frame where, you know, it'll be there a while to make 30. You know, it's relying on the small colours.
He's played that well to finish topside. Gives him a few options. Not a good shot. There is a red to the middle.
26. 27.
Again, it's all hard graft.
$32. 43. $38. 39. Yeah.
Well, I think he believes that was a kick. It sounded a little different to all the other shots he's played.
44.
He's on the red. He's just got to play with a little bit of power now to get up for a colour. I mean, it's not bad. It's just off straight, but he's got to hit this one now.
$45.
And he hit it beautifully. Well, he's looked at about 4 different shots so far. We've been there before.
Well, I think he's clearly especially cautious after what happened in the last frame in a very similar situation.
Selby, 50.
Leads by 50, 75 still on.
Well, he's got to push this red away from the pocket and play it safe. Played it pretty well.
He's made all the running really today in terms of breaks. A century and 4 half centuries. But the red's not in. It's a big chance, that.
One.
I think you got hold of it too much.
Sullivan, 8.
He'll be tempted into this one. He's bewildered as to how the red ended up at the other end of the table. It's not so bad as all that. Reds are not a little tied up, but they're not impossible. And like I say, the colours are definitely not. To avoid the pink. Pretty good.
One.
Wow, what a knuckle that was. I don't know if he can get on a red or he can get the reds open, but to get on the black is not the worst thing to do here. Well, it was an incredible knuckle. Now I've seen it again. The fact that he got on the black with an angle to break the reds, that was a real
8.
piece of good fortune for O'Sullivan. It was a good red, but it was a good result as well.
Well, you heard the sigh of the pocket, tried to take it.
One. Eight.
Well, the chance did come for O'Sullivan in the end, this frame, but without the same success as the previous frame.
Well, he's not podded that, so 2 snookers required.
It's an outside chance now.
One.
Well, maybe not now. That's hard to think you could finish there.
Brown, please.
Amazed. What's the point in playing the brown? Just conceding points, aren't you? As he's somehow trying to pot it. Don't understand that. Means he's not given the frame up at least, but he couldn't get behind the brown, I don't think. He just leaked a few more points. Less chance of winning the frame now than he had. He was unlucky to finish there. I have to say.
Well, the red goes in, it removes any doubt, as it is. You know, there is still a chance here because the red on the table, the free ball becomes a possibility.
Quite amazing with O'Sullivan, isn't it? How hard he's trying here. He's 47 behind on one red. You know, there've been times when, I mean, he lost to Stephen Hendry in the UK, 4-1 down in the best of 17, just walked out, didn't he? Now he's playing on when frames are, I mean, this frame I understand a bit more, but the fourth frame he's trying to play on with just a black left. 60 behind or whatever it was. Now, you've got to stop somewhere. So he's very different plan of action than what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, just wondering if it had potted the black. What is it next? A staring contest, maybe? Assure himself of the frame. There it is. Been hard fought. The last frame was 28.5 minutes. This is around about the same. Similar frames as well. Balls were awkward. The pink and black were tied up in this frame. Selby carved out that 50. But unlike the last frame, O'Sullivan didn't get in and clear up.
6. 8. 11.
One thing's for sure, Selby's concentration, it just remains the same whatever happens. But he'll be pleased to win this frame after that wonderful clearance from O'Sullivan in the last.
$20. 26.
2 frames left then this afternoon. Goes to Mark Selby. It was hard fought. As I say, the balls were very awkward early on. He made that good 50. Mark Selby at the moment just holding Ronnie O'Sullivan at arm's length. He now leads him 4-2.
Playing the double, I think. That's, of course, credit to Selby for stopping him doing it. It's another typical Selby shot there. He felt that he could pot that, not leave anything. That's very well played.
Nine. Selby 9.
be really disappointed there, because there was an early opening in a frame, the kind of thing that hasn't happened very often. Selby's miss has cost him nothing. I don't know who asked for the cue ball to be cleaned there, whether it was a result of Ronnie's shot or Mark's previous. Didn't think Mark had got a kick personally, but it did throw off thick. Mark was the one that may have thought he had a bad contact on his previous. Anyway.
Seven. $50.
Gradually getting out of position in this break. Difficult pot this. But very much thinking about the cue ball for safety.
28.
Like the previous frames, isn't it? He's accumulated 37 points here with doing a lot of work, but not by any means putting the frame beyond any doubt. Reds all heading towards that right corner. Ronnie desperately needs some cover. So, cushion first it is.
One. Mark Selby, one.
Good safety shot from O'Sullivan to get that thin edge. That's an incredible win-off.
Wow.
I thought Ronnie had been lucky actually at first, getting the double kiss and taking the cue ball up the table, but to going off, obviously not lucky. You wouldn't see that very often.
One.
In attendance,
Four.
Maybe 4-2 up. But I think it's essential that he clears up here, or he certainly puts the frame beyond doubt here. Because another comeback from O'Sullivan, if he could steal this frame, then I wouldn't know quite how the score would be so close. He's not quite over the line yet.
Seven.
not quite must win for O'Sullivan, but if he loses it, he's clearly in trouble.
$13.
It just seems that Ronnie O'Sullivan can't quite get in early in these frames and sort of put his stamp on them. It's going Mark Selby's way.
$21. 28. 29. 36.
'Fairly important shots, or seemingly important at the time, shots that he has missed. But it's been pretty reliable.
44. 45.
Because he's made the only century of the day. They go 2-1 up. But I think, as we're saying, there is one more frame to play. In the main, he's been sitting there watching Selby all
52.
afternoon.
You know, getting early with a big break, that might just send him off with a break between sessions, feeling a bit better about things.
59. 64.
To join Judd Trump and Neil Robertson on 19 career ranking titles.
70.
And he's only 4 frames away now from doing that. 77 clearance then
In the frame.
from Mark Selby to set up a big last frame of the afternoon. 3 clear for the first time at 5-2.
One.
So, what a chance.
Six.
Yeah, played it well. Undoubtedly, it's one they both want to win.
There was a suspicion that it would go this way after the form of the two players this week, and sometimes that's all you can really go by when matches are so close. You know, there's nothing between them, albeit they've got contrasting styles. But this week, Selby has been in better form than O'Sullivan. There's no doubt about that.
Now, Ronnie's got obviously a lot of fans, more fans than any other player, but 61% went for Selby, just on an opinion on who would win.
Twenty-two. 29. 30.
Got a high angle. I think the other red that's just sticking out slightly above the one he's going to play, that might pop to the left middle.
$38.
So playing on the loose one, but again, it'll all be about... Well, that was a surprise. It was always a little bit top jaw, maybe a little slower in pace. I think the ball would have accepted, or the pocket would have accepted the ball, I should say.
It's another frame, though, where he's been in first, got a lead on the board. here's a chance.
Ronnie saying that Mark Selby's doing something to, I don't know.
Picking up his water, I think he said.
Yeah.
Well, he's missed the red.
There's an argument he might have put himself off there, I think.
Anyway, it was a chance, but Mark Selby back at the table, 40 odd in front. For a couple of shots. Mark Allen firmly denied it.
With no spectators in there, it's very hard to be statuesque when you're down there, sitting there watching. You've got to still remain alive, haven't you? You can't just completely not move.
Mark Selby, 14. 1.
So you've got one last push in this session. Sullivan, can he win this frame? I play this with just a trace of right-hand side. Yeah.
7.
And that right-hand side just took him into the blue rather than slipping beyond it. I tell you what, this would be. He could pull this up from his boots, this clearance, it would be some effort. Just when you thought the frame and the session was done, this chance has cropped up.
Yeah, one last little moment of inspiration needed here this afternoon. I think subdued is a good word, but he's played the cannon to open those two reds.
21.
Yeah, he's competed for every point. It's not any of that we've seen before where he's not done so. All this comes really down to that bottom red, and why wouldn't you play on it now? You're going to need it anyway. Doesn't have to be the last red, the safe one.
Spotted a bit of chalk on the red.
Well, you can get a kick, can't you, when you think there's something on the ball. I mean, these have been hugging the cushion, played slowly all the way through. But at pace, of course, they'd sometimes rattle and stay out. It's a massive shot, this one, you know.
Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Who saw that coming?
Bernard Sullivan, 37.
In goes the red. Well, if that's O'Sullivan's last shot of the afternoon, it's not going to be one he'll look back on too fondly. He's still a bit bemused by it. Selby needs the yellow, and it should be 6-2. Potted it well. Well, it's not the deciding frame, but it does seem, at the moment, it feels decisive. Not just the fact that Selby's won it, but how he's won it. With O'Sullivan missing that red when he had what looked like a golden chance to make the winning clearance.
13.
It's been a rather bitty afternoon from O'Sullivan's perspective. Hasn't got in and made the breaks you might have expected from him.
18.
Here's the red again, and you can see his reaction as well, just disbelieving. So it's advantage very much Mark Selby.
31.
He's got a 4-frame lead, and he's only 3 away from retaining this Scottish Open title. He leads Ronnie O'Sullivan at the halfway stage by 6 frames to 2.